welcome back, friends. We have come to the second part of the vocabulary section. Just like in the previous video, we ended on the root word that was geo, G-E-O-G-O. So we'll be continuing with some important root words and the various words that could be derived using those root words. So we have with us the first slide. We have the root word anthrop, meaning human. So the words that are derived from the given root words, they are anthropology, philanthropy, and philanthropist. Well, the meaning of the word anthropology is study of humankind. The suffix logy, logy, it means the study of. Like in the case of biology, zoology, dermatology, and so on and so forth. Over here, special focus needs to be made regarding the other two words in the chart that are philanthropy and philanthropist. The former means love for humankind, and the latter, which is philanthropist, it stands for someone who practices love for humankind. So now both the words have one more root word other than anthrop that is there in the chart itself. And that other root word, it is phil or philo, phil phil or philo philo. And this particular root word, it means love. So with the understanding of these root words, we can safely assume that any English word that we come across, any given English word that we come across that has the word phil or philo, phil phil or philo philo in it, they have something or the other to do with love or attachment of some kind. Well, keeping that in mind, we have five such unique, interesting words lined up. As we can see, the meaning of the word phil is love, and based on that, we have five words: bibliophile, audiophile, philander, necrophilia, and anglophile. So you must have noticed in all the words we have underlined the word "fill" in it. So it means that all these words they have something or the other to do with love of some kind. So first things first, we'll discuss about bibliophile. Before I talk about bibliophile, I am sure we must have at one point or the other come across this particular term called bibliography. So whenever we find this term bibliography in any format, in anywhere for that matter, we end up seeing right below the bibliography there are list of books given, list of contents, list of sources given. So that is your bibliography. So by that sense, what we mean from bibliography is that bibliography is a collection, is a list of books. So in that sense, biblio, it means books. And mind you, it does not have anything to do with Bible. So biblio, when one says it, it means books. And phil, we have philia, or file we have. So file is love. So anyone who loves books, that person is called a bibliophile, perhaps. All right. Moving on, we have the second word, which is audiophile. So audiophile, as the word suggests, audio. Audio is sound, but mind you, it is not just any sound for that matter. It specifically means to do with music. It specifically has to do with music. So a music lover is called an audiophile. The next word in the list is philander. Well, philander is a combination of two words again. Phil, as we all know, is love, and the second word is it comes from the word wander, wander, wander. So by that, some of us would actually assume that Phil plus wander would perhaps mean someone who loves traveling, someone who loves wandering. But that is actually not the case over here. When we say philander, it means someone who has a roving eye, someone whose love keeps on changing uh, every now and then. For example, if someone loves this person, the next day he or she would end up loving another person. So someone whose love keeps on changing every single day or every now and then, that is a philander. That particular act is a philander. Likewise, we have the next word, the second last, that is necrophilia. So here, the important word over here is necro. So necro, it means dead bodies or corpses. So it does mean someone who loves the sight, who loves seeing dead bodies. Well, we have different kinds of people across the globe, and there are some people who loves the sight of dead bodies. So that particular section of the people, they are basically they have necrophilia. So in that sense, that is necrophilia. The last one that we have is Anglophile. So an Anglophile, if we are to say, is Anglo meaning British, English. So anyone who loves English, anyone who loves anything to do with the British people, the British taste, the British style, the British ways of life, that person is an Anglophile. All right, so moving on, we have in the next slide the root word chron. So the root word chron, it means time. So deriving from the given root word, we have with us four very, very distinctive words for consideration. We have chronology, we have chronic, we have synchronize, and we have anachronism. Well, we'll discuss each one of them one by one. So first off, we have chronology. So in the earlier slide, we discussed that LOGY, logi, it means the study of, right? So we have chronology. So chronology is basically study of time, or uh, a, a better way of explaining this would be study of sequences. So the order of things. So that is basically chronology, study of sequences, study of order. That is chronology. When we talk about chronic, chronic basically it means, as the word chron is time, right? So in that sense, when we use the word chronic, so chronic it means something that is very long lasting. In terms of example, we can say that this person is suffering from a very chronic illness, so a very long lasting illness in that way. So that's how the meaning of the word emerges of chronic. The next word that we have is synchronize. Well, the word sin, S-Y-N, sin, it comes from the word sinking. Sinking is making an order out of chaos, basically. So that is the whole idea of the word sin. So we use things like syncing, that these two things are to go in sync with that, so on and so forth. So in that sense, synchronize is m- kind of making things in an orderly manner, orderly fashion, that is synchronize. The last word that we have is anachronism. Well, the dictionary meaning of the word anachronism, it is that it is a thing belonging or appropriate to a period or to a time other than that in which it exists. So in this way, we have chron as a root word, which means time, and we have these four words. And mind you, I mean, if at all in future we do come across any English word, any word for that matter, that has a root word chron in it, we have to automatically assume that they have something to do with time. Okay, moving on to the next slide, we have the root word that is gamos, and it means marriage. And based on the given root word, we have four very unique word sets, and they are polygamy, endogamy, monogamy, and exogamy. So first off, let me just quickly deal with polygamy and monogamy. So mono and poly, we know that mono is single and poly is multiple. So by that very logic, if one is to say that it's a monogamy, then it's just one marriage, as in someone who is married to just one person. Polygamy, in that sense, would be someone who is married to multiple people. So that is polygamy. So polygamy and monogamy, it works like that. Both of them, they work like that. The other two words that we have in the list, they are endogamy and exogamy. Well, speaking of endogamy and exogamy, the thing to be noted over here is that endo is inside, exo is outside. So if one says exogamy, that means a person who has married outside his or her community, his or her religion, that is exogamy. In the case of endogamy, anyone who has married to someone within the community, within the religion, that person is said to be practicing endogamy. So that's how all these four words they function. So gamy is marriage. Gamos actually, it is the root word which means marriage. Moving on, we have the next root word which is demo, which means population. Some of you may end up interpreting demo as something associated with a trial or something related to it. Uh, well, the word demo, it has its origin from the Greek and Latin language, which means population, as in people. And based on this very fact, we have with us four very interesting words: demographic, democracy, endemic, and democrat. So, first things first, talking about demographic. So, demographic basically means study of population. Like we have the census report that is conducted every 10 years, so on and so forth. So, that is demographic, study of the population, study of the number of people and their religion, their behavioral aspects, etc., etc. So that is demographic. All right, and endemic. Uh, the next word, endemic. It the dictionary meaning of endemic. It is of a disease or condition regularly found among particular people or in a certain area, meaning something to do with population in one way or the other. Like in the recent case, we have heard of the coronavirus, which is a pandemic. So it comes from the word endemic only. So that's how it works. Regarding the other two words in the list on your screen, democracy and democrat, both represent a system of governance whereby it is the people or the population that is the ruler of the system. Point that needs to be considered over here is that democracy or democrat, uh, both these words, they have two root words: demo, of course, and crat, 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 or crac, crack. The word crat or crack, it means rule or system of governance. Moving further, using our understanding of the root word crat, 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 we can make more words from it. Like in this case, we have, as I mentioned, the meaning of the word crat or crack is rule or system of governance. And based on that, we have four words: autocracy, bureaucracy, theocrat, and meritocracy. So first things first, autocracy. Again, please notice the underlined letters. So, which means it has something or the other to do with uh, ruling or system of governance. Well, moving on. So, first word in the list we have is autocracy. So, autocracy is a system of governance whereby a particular region, a particular community uh, is ruled by the people themselves. They don't have any elected members or anything of that sort. automatically ruled in that sense. There is autocracy. The next one is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy, it is, well, a system of government in which most of the important decisions are taken by the state officials rather than by by the elected representatives. So that is bureaucracy. Theocrat. Well, theocrat is actually interesting because when we talk about theocrat, well, the first half of the word, that is theo. Uh, it means, like, for example, if I say that I am an atheist, I am an atheist, it basically means that I am a non-believer. I do not believe in existence of God. So by that very logic, the word we have theo in it. Atheism, the spelling of atheism or atheist is Atheist, atheist. So it comes from the word theo. Theo basically, Theo, theo basically means God. So we have the word theo in it and crat in it. So crat is rule. So a system of governance whereby God is the ruler. So that is theocrat. Similarly, we say theology, theology, theology. It means study of gods, right? The last one in the list that we have is meritocracy. Well, speaking of meritocracy, meritocracy basically means a system of governance whereby people are assigned roles as per their capabilities, merit on the basis of merit system. So on the basis of their capabilities, that is meritocracy. Well, besides CRAT, which means rule, we have another set of words which means slightly similar to it, and that word is arc, ARCH, arc. The root word arc, it means to rule, as you can see on the screen, and based on this, we can similarly bring into discussion various words like you can see on the screen: monarchy, thearchy, matriarchy, and oligarchy and anarchy. So that's how it works. So whenever we come across the word arc in it, arc in any word, it automatically means to rule. So first off, we have monarchy. So monarchy is a combination of two words, mono and arc. Mono is single, one, and arc is rule. So system of governance whereby one person is the ruler. So a king for that matter. So that is monarchy. Thearchy, as we discussed in the previous slide, Theo is God. So in that sense, thearchy, the first half comes from the word Theo, which is God. So thearchy is a system of governance ruled by gods. So thearchy, that is. We have matriarchy. Well, matriarchy, uh, the first half of the word matriarchy, it comes from the root word matter, mater, matter. Like we have maternal, maternity, etc., etc. So matter basically it means women. So a system of governance, a system whereby women, they are the ruler, that is matriarchy. The next in the list is oligarchy. Well, oligarchy is a small group of people uh, having control of a country or organization. That is oligarchy. The next in the last one in the list, it is anarchy. So anarchy is, well, absence of governance or government, complete absence of government or governance. That is anarchy. All right. So the next slide that we have, it is aster, and the root word aster, it means stars. So star is stars, and deriving from this root word, we have words like astrology, astronaut, astral, and astronomy. So we all know what an astronaut is. So I need not dwell on it. Astral basically it means related to stars, that is astral. The other two words, that is astrology and astronomy. It's a very common confusion when it comes to these two words. So the thing to be noticed over here is that when we talk about astronomy, astronomy is basically a science or a study of stars and heavenly, sorry, not heavenly, celestial objects. That is astronomy. Astrology, when we talk about it, astrology again is a study of celestial objects, celestial objects, but basing on that, it is used to it is used to also study the human behaviors. That is astrology. So that is the difference. One is completely science, the other one, that is astrology. It is used, of course, it is study of celestial objects, but also to predict human behavior, the future of humans, rather, in that sense. So that is astrology. The next that we have is the root word phono. So phono, it means sound. Phono or phone, we can also say it. Phone, phone. So we have words like gramophone, we have microphone, we have telephone, and we have homophone. So uh, we have gramophone. I'm sure we have seen it at least in movies or any other sources that are there. So gramophone basically, you have this instrument whereby you have this really large disc, and the disc keeps on rotating and sound comes up from that particular instrument. So that is basically a gramophone. Microphone, simple as that. A telephone. Telephone is combination of tele and phone. Tele is distant, phone, of course, is sound. So that is your telephone. Homophone. Homo basically is same sounding. So homophone, when we say homophone, it means words that do sound the same, or that do sound similar, but they are different in meanings. That is basically a homophone. Uh, the next slide is phobia. The next root word is phobia, which most of us already know means fear. So we have, based on the root word phobia, we have four interesting set of words. Uh, and these words are necrophobia, arachnophobia, hydrophobia, and bibliophobia. So, the first one in the list that we have is necrophobia. Well, we discussed in terms of while doing the slide on PHIL, Phil. Phil is love, and we talked about necrophile or necrophilia. So anyone who loves dead bodies. So over here, necro, the same root word, necro, meaning dead bodies or corpses, and we have necrophobia. So anyone who is scared of seeing dead bodies, that basically is necrophobia. A necrophobic person is anyone who is scared, who fears the sight of dead bodies. That is a necrophobic person. The next in the list, it is arachnophobia. Well, arachnophobia is the fear of spiders. So anyone who fears spiders, that person is said to be arachnophobic. The next word is hydrophobia. Hydro is water, and anyone who has fear of water, that person is said to be hydrophobic. The last one in the list is bibliophobia. Again, just like necrophobia, we had necrophilia. Likewise, a bibliophile is a person who loves books, but over here, a bibliophobia that we have in this on your screen. So anyone who is scared, who is mighty scared of books, right? That person is suffering from bibliophobia. or that person is a bibliophobic person. So that is bibliophobia. Uh, well, phobia is actually very interesting, and keeping that in mind, we have over here other examples of phobia for you. And we have four interesting lineup of words. The first one in the list is triskaidekaphobia. We have acrophobia. We have paraskevidekatriophobia, xenophobia. Well, I'm not making up these words. They are actual English words for you. Okay, so we'll discuss each one of them. So the first things first, we have triskaidekaphobia. Well, one thing to always remember about English words uh, is that we can always break them down in order to understand it. So of course, we have triskaidekaphobia, which means, of course, it has the word phobia in it. So we have broken down this particular word, and it has, of course, something to do with fear. Well, what kind of fear is the question? And well, the fear is that of Triskaideka. Now, Triskaideka, we can also we can even further break down this particular word. So I'll do that for you. We have the word deca. So deca has this some sort of similarity with the word decimal, right? Which is a Latin word. So decimal basically is 10, right? So 10, so we keep that aside. So deca meaning 10. So we are keeping that aside. Now let's focus on Triskai. So Triskai, when one say Triskai, it has something similar to the word trident or tri, right? So tri is three. So in that sense, we have the word three in it. So three and deca, for deca we have 10. So if we have 10 and 3, of course, meaning 13. 10 plus 3, 13. So that is 13. So which means anyone who fears the number 13, who is scared of the number 13, that person or that particular phenomena, it is called triskaidekaphobia. Well, the number 13 is considered to be the unlucky number by a lot of people. So in that sense, that works. So triskaidekaphobia is how it works. Acrophobia, again, a fear, but fear of what? Fear of acro. What is acro? Well, when we say acro, the similarity of this word comes from, like, say, acrobatics, like in circus or in any other forms. We have acrobatics. Acrobatics basically people jumping in the air and holding on to ropes and then swinging and then hanging on to it. That is your acrophobia. So, sorry, that is your acrobatics. So, acro is actually that of heights. So anyone who fears height, that is acrophobia. Like I said, in circus or any other forms whereby it involves hanging on to ropes or things like that, and extreme heights it involves. So that's how acrophobia it emerges from it, and yeah, fear of height. The next one, it's a little longish sounding, longish in the letters as well. So we have paraskevidekatriophobia. Well, tria. So with Triskai, tria, it means three. So we are breaking them down one by one. We have deca, again 10. So 10 plus 3, 13. Of course. So it has to do with 13. But we have an additional word set, that is paraskevi. So paraskevi actually, there's no I guess, English counterpart of this particular word, but it actually means Friday, Paraskevi. So Friday the 13th. So anyone who fears the onset, the arrival of Friday the 13th, that person is said to be suffering from Paraskevi decatriophobia. Well, the last one in the list is xenophobia. So xenophobia, combination of xeno and phobia. Well, xenophobia, xeno basically is foreigners, is that of foreigners or unknown people. So anyone who fears foreigners, that person is said to be suffering from xenophobia. Like in case of, in terms of examples, there are people who believe that if foreigners they do come in, then they might actually take away our jobs, deprive us from our resources, etc., etc. So by that very logic, xenophobia functions, right? So that's how this whole set of phobia, the root word phobia, could be understood. So it's all about breaking down words one by one and situating them as per our understanding. All right. So with this, we come to the end of the second part of the vocabulary section. We will continue in the next section. All right. Thank you.